a WikiVidi documentaries production. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy. Christopher Chataway. Sir Christopher John Chataway, often known as Chris Chataway, was a British Midland long-distance runner, television news broadcaster, and Conservative politician. Education. He was born in Chelsea, London, the son of James Dennis Percival Chataway, OBE. He spent his childhood in the Anglo-Egyptian Sudan, as his father was a member of the Sudan Political Service. He was educated at Sherborne School, where he excelled at rugby, boxing and gymnastics, but did not win a race until he was 16, and Magdalen College, Oxford, where he gained a philosophy, politics and economics degree. But his studies were overshadowed by his success on the athletics track as a long-distance runner. Athletics career. Chataway had a short, but distinguished athletics career. At the Helsinki Olympic Games of 1952, in the 5,000 meters final, after being passed on the last bend by the Czech long-distance runner, Emil Zatopek, France's Alain Mamoun, and West Germany's Herbert Schade, Chataway's foot brushed the curb and he crashed headlong to the ground. Chataway managed to finish the race in 5th place. On leaving university he took an executive job with Guinness. When Sir Hugh Beaver of Guinness came up with the idea for the Guinness Book of Records, it was Chataway who suggested his old university friends Norris and Ross McWhirter as editors, knowing of their liking for facts. Chataway continued with his running. When Roger Bannister ran the first sub-4-minute mile on the 6th of May 1954, at Oxford University's Iffley Road track, Chataway and Chris Brasher were his pacemakers. He finished in 2nd place in the 5,000 meters at the European Athletics Championship of 1954, 12.2 seconds behind the winner Vladimir Kutz, but 2 weeks later turned the tables at a London v. Moscow athletics competition at White City, setting a world record time of 13 minutes 51.6 seconds. The contest was televised via the Eurovision network and made Chataway a sporting celebrity. That December he won the first BBC Sports Personality of the Year award. After competing in the 1956 Olympics, Chataway retired from international athletics, though he continued to race for Thames Hare and Hounds. Broadcasting and politics. Soon after leaving Oxford with a degree in politics, philosophy and economics, he decided to aim for a political career. He thought a suitable job in the rapidly expanding world of television might help. He refused offers in sports TV and with panel and quiz shows, but secured a job in August 1955 with ITN. He and Robin Day were its first 2 newscasters. After 6 months, when loss-making ITV cut back on its news output, Chataway switched to the BBC and was for 3.5 years one of Panorama's highly regarded team of reporters with a different assignment each week, sometimes at home, but usually abroad. By this time he was also considering another career, this time in politics. He had been narrowly elected as a Conservative to the London County Council in 1958 in Lewisham North, and was then selected to stand for Parliament in the same seat. Lewisham North was a highly marginal seat won by Labour in a by-election in 1957, but Chataway's charm helped to win the seat with a majority bigger than it had been in the previous general election. His maiden speech expressed the hope that the England cricket team would refuse to play a tour in apartheid South Africa, a highly unusual opinion for a Conservative. In Parliament, Chataway took up the issue of refugees, especially in Africa, and campaigned so hard during World Refugee Year that he was awarded an Anson Medal. He served as a parliamentary private secretary before being appointed as a junior education minister in July 1962. In the 1964 election, his majority was slashed to 343 and the seat looked distinctly vulnerable. In 1966 he lost. ILEA. In 1967 the Conservatives unexpectedly won control of the Inner London Education Authority and the party leadership was horrified to discover that their newly elected councillors were going to try to break up comprehensive schools and replace them with secondary modern and grammar schools. Chataway, with relevant ministerial experience, was persuaded to take over. He was elected an alderman and appointed leader of the Education Committee, eventually cajoling his colleagues into a more moderate line. he avoided a head-on collision with Edward Short and proceeded with those schemes for secondary reorganization that he regarded as well-founded. Heath government. Chataway was keen to return to Parliament, and the opportunity came in a by-election in Chichester in May 1969. He then resigned as ILEA leader, with the return of a Conservative government in 1970. After refusing the offer of Sports Minister, he was appointed by Edward Heath as Minister for Posts and Telecommunications and made a Privy Councillor. In this post he took charge of introducing commercial radio for the first time, ending the BBC monopoly. After a reshuffle in April 1972, he was Minister for Industrial Development. Business career. When the Conservatives were defeated in the February 1974 election, Chataway announced his retirement from politics, and he did not seek re-election at the October 1974 election. He then went into business, becoming a managing director of Orion Bank, a consortium bank later acquired by one of its shareholders, the Royal Bank of Canada. He stayed with Orion, later as vice chairman, for 15 years. He held various non-executive directorships. He was also the first chairman of Groundwork, the environmental charity, and treasurer of the National Campaign for Electoral Reform. His principal outside interest was ActionAid, a small overseas development charity, of which he became treasurer in 1974 and later chairman. By the time he left the Board of Trustees in 1999, ActionAid's annual turnover had grown to nearly £100 million. When Chataway's son Adam decided to launch a water project in Ethiopia in memory of his fiancée killed in a road traffic accident, he chose to do it in partnership with ActionAid. Vicky's Water Project, opened in 2010, has transformed the lives of 20,000 people. In 1991, Chataway was appointed chairman of the Civil Aviation Authority, a job he relished not least because his father had been one of the early aviators. He supported his friend Chris when he established the London Marathon, and was president of the Commonwealth Games Council for England from 1990 to 2009. He was knighted in 1995 for services to aviation. In the 2005 general election, his stepson Charles Walker was elected as Conservative MP for Broxbourne. Personal life. He was married twice. Firstly, to Anna Lett, with whom he had 2 sons and a daughter, and secondly, to Corolla Walker, with whom he had 2 further sons. His stepson is the Conservative MP Charles Walker, and his brother-in-law the former Conservative MP Peter Horden. Death. Chataway suffered from cancer for the last 2.5 years of his life. Chataway died aged 82 at St John's Hospice in northwest London in January 2014. Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Would you like to know more?